Welcome back, everybody, to July 23rd. The tech world is aflutter this morning with a bunch of nothing, as usual.
Would you say it's a Twitter?
It might be a Twitter's. It's, yeah.
Well, the European heat wave is upon us, Brad. It's going to be 99 or 100 degrees each of the next 3 days in a row.
Fantastic. I might be enjoying you in that heat. I believe the place we're going this weekend does not have air conditioning because, well, it's just the way it is. And
Where are you going?
up in Michigan. Remember? Told you on this last week.
Yeah. Sorry. I've been a little self-involved
Have
lately.
you? Have you?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. We'll
That's
see.
right. Yes. I know. I'm sorry. I do remember.
We got a couple fans. There could be AC. We have no idea. We don't even know what we're going into. Much like Intel here, or Intel, I should say, Apple, who is apparently going to be buying Intel's 5G modem business, which was doing so well, for about $1 billion bones.
Intel bought that business for, I want to say, $1.4 billion, and I want to say it was from Infineon. Does that sound right? Something like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, making money hand over fist over there. Now Apple will literally have Intel inside.
Yeah, finally. After all these, well, I guess technically they have used Intel modems in the past, much to the dismay of anybody.
Inside the company. I mean,
yeah. But the problem is if you got an Intel modem, your phone was actually worse than if you got the Qualcomm one. So this will be fun.
Now all of Apple will be worse by virtue of buying Intel's modem business. So yeah.
Maybe they could buy their Atom processor line while they're at it. That might be another good.
That was one of the front runners for the iPad.
I can't imagine why they didn't do that.
I think it was the fans.
Was it the fans? Maybe the low performance?
Crappy performance. The
short battery life. Those netbooks have really stuck around.
Yeah.
There's probably 7 million ePCs in the what was it? It was like 3 E's. I think they were just called ePCs from Asus or Acer or one of those, and probably all just in the landfills.
Yeah, the first ones were Linux-based, weren't they? That was the big push for XP Starter Edition back when Windows Vista was a thing. I think so. Yeah. The original.
Oh, here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact for you. I read this last night. I believe Raymond Chen wrote a blog post about this.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
No, but he writes a lot. I can understand what area this might be in.
So here's a quick quiz for you, Mr. Paul Thurrott. What was the code name of Windows 7?
Oh, I know this. It's Windows 7 because the Windows 7 was the code name, and then they.
You suck.
Yeah, no, I'm those things. I thought what you were going to ask me was what was the code name for the original version of Windows. I'm amazed by how many people don't know. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not a code name. The original name of Windows. And remember, this came up at the Shift Happens event. I think I used it as a trivia thing there. So the answer is Interface Builder, and almost no one remembers that for some reason.
Yeah, they just kind of compartmentalize that and just put it.
You kind of wish it never happened.
Put it over here next to Groove and Live Tiles and Windows Phone and Zoom.
Yeah. So anyway, Windows 7, right? So Whistler was Windows XP. And then there was going to be, Longhorn was Vista, or became, Longhorn was actually Longhorn, but Vista came out of that. And then Blackcomb was going to be this thing that was after Longhorn. And those three, Whistler and Blackcomb are mountains at the British Columbia, whatever I think it's called. I can't remember. I'm sorry, the British Columbia ski area.
The ski resort.
And Longhorn is a little, like a bar restaurant thing that's between them.
Yeah.
Originally, it was supposed to be kind of a small release.
I wonder if Longhorn's still there.
I believe it is, by the way. I think it is. It's like Longhorn Tavern or something.
Man, I wonder how much Microsoft money has been blown in that place to get it cut.
Yeah. This was a big thing. A lot of the NT guys went up there too back in the day too. That was like their winter thing. They would go down to Florida and race cars in the summer, and they would go up to Blackcomb or Whitby. Whitby? Is it Whitby?
No, it's.
I don't know why I can't think of the name of this place.
Blackcomb, Whistler.
Oh, maybe it's just called the Whistler Ski Area, actually.
It's just called Whistler Blackcomb, official ski resort website. Whistler, British Columbia.
There you go.
So, Yeah, what he wrote in his post is that they just called it Windows 7 because it was the 7th version or whatever, 7.0 of was it the kernel or whatever they were doing.
Well, yes, the major version of Vista was 6.0.
Yeah.
Right. So, of course, the next one would be 7.0, and of course, what they called it was, I think, 6.1.
Yeah.
So it was 6.2 or something. I don't know.
And that they just called it Windows 7 because that was just the code name, and they figured marketing would come up with a name, and they're like, nah, we'll just go with that.
Yeah. I think that was the right name.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, maybe they could have called it Windows Creative Edition or something.
It wasn't a very creative group at the time.
I don't think the Windows 10 Creative update was either.
That's okay. Fair enough. Yep.
Just throwing that nugget out there. So, Paul, I saw beforehand you were touching a box that was tangibly related to some of this.
So I've been meaning to do this. Stephen Bink has in his office here an incredible amount of Microsoft nostalgia. So behind me, you can see a bunch of iPhones mostly. Oh, by the way, there's also, I think that dark box is probably a Microsoft mouse. But or maybe the box above the dark box. But he has a bunch of Microsoft stuff in here. And so I thought I would show you some of it because it's really cool. So this one is a 10 client access license plus the server version of Windows NT 3.51. Was that Daytona? No, Daytona was 3.5. I don't know if this one had a code name, but this is the cool part. This is open. A lot of the stuff he has is actually shrink wrap, so obviously I would never open that, but I had to see what was inside. This is so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
The setup discs are floppy based. Yep. There's also a CD-ROM, so I guess if you had a CD-ROM, you could install it that way. But yep, that's how small things were back then. 3 floppies.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Man, crazy times.
There's a lot of server stuff in here.
Yeah, my wife would call that an addiction.
Yeah, I used to have an incredible collection of this stuff. I had every version of Windows. I had Windows 2, 286, 386, 3.0. I had everything. He's got a lot of it. He's got a NT4. He's got Windows Server 2003, DOS 6.2, Windows 286. I can see here. It's probably more, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, neat. I think
it's a network operating system, Brad. Oh, I should say this is actually pretty humorous too. The system requirements: a 386, 25 megahertz or higher. 90 megabytes, yes, of available hard disk space, 16 megabytes of system memory.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 megabytes. I paused for a moment to do the math on how tiny that is compared to just 1 gigabyte of RAM, right?
Yeah.
It's just incredible. 1 CD-ROM drive, I guess. VGA, Super VGA. So VGA was what, 640 by 480? Super VGA was probably 800 by 600?
Mm-hmm.
Or a video graphics
Something
adapter.
There, yeah.
The thing I remember about NT back in this day, and this was true of NT4 as well, was there was a hardware compatibility list, HCL. And if you wanted to buy...
Uh-oh, your audio just dropped for a second. We got HDL.
HCL, the hardware compatibility list, yeah. So you'd have to, what I used to do to get hardware, because it had to be on the list or it just wouldn't work. So it wasn't like Windows, like you couldn't just buy anything.
Yeah.
So you would print out the part of the list about network drivers or whatever it was, go to the store and say, okay, do we have one of these? Nope. You have one of those? Nope. Oh, there's one. And then you would buy whatever they had because there really was.
Yeah, that's kind of what you just had to roll with.
Yeah. Yeah, so when they combined the two operating systems, that was the point. Obviously you wanted the basis of the system to be NT, reliability, well, maybe not performance, but the reliability, we'll call it the security.
Mm-hmm.
The foundation was there, but what you really wanted was the driver and application compatibility of Windows 9X, and that's what they did to make XP. That shimtastic operating system.
Shimtastic. It's about how my furnace is held together. I think it's called shims. So
I am dreading. As soon as this thing is over, I'm going to close the blinds and huddle in him like an animal that hibernates during the winter. That could come up with the name of a bear, I guess. I don't.
Do you have fans at least?
Yeah, we do. We have one fan in every bedroom and one fan downstairs. So we're going to huddle around those.
Tell stories, maybe.
Right. It's like everybody listen to the radios.
You can roast marshmallows by just holding them up in the air behind you.
They just burst into flame when they hit the light.
Well, you have a tremendous streak of going to Europe during the heat waves, and we appreciate your sacrifices from the trenches. That is Paul Thurrott in the Amsterdams.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else for today, Mr. Paul?
No, I do know my schedule for next week. I'll tell you that offline.
Okay.
We don't need to go through that with these guys. No, that's about it. Yeah, it's more of the same.
Cool. Well, that does it for today, everybody. We'll catch all of you right back here next time on a very cool, calm, and collected version of First Ring Daily.